Alright guys, welcome back to the garage. Now I didn't think I'd be making a video on the Dart already, but here we are. So with the last video with the Dart, we did the upper transmission and upper engine mounts, and I mentioned I did not order the lower torque mount. Well, guess what? I still got a little bit of a clunk, mainly going from drive to reverse or reverse to drive, and I assume the engine is rocking due to this mount. So we're going under the car and replacing it. All right, first thing you need to do is take your splash shield off if you still have it. It's just a series of 10mm bolts. Now, first glance here, I notice I'm missing a bolt for the exhaust bracket, and I believe another one right there. But here's the mount right there. There's two ways you can do this. There's the correct way and the wrong way. The wrong way is remove this bolt, and use a pry bar to pry this one out and pry the new one in. The correct way is to actually remove this bracket. And in order to remove this bracket, you got to move the exhaust out of the way. So you will undo the two nuts here, and then those bolts for those brackets, at least just this one. Any swing exhaust out of the way, and that gives you access to those bolts. They are Torx, so keep that in mind. Okay, we're going to go ahead and rip this bolt out. It's a 15. And this bolt is an 18. I don't know if we'll be able to get the impact up there. Nope. Okay, I was worried about these nuts coming loose, but they actually came loose, so move that out of the way. Now we can get to these two bracket bolts for the engine mount. All right, change of plans. I actually removed the two flange nuts there too on the exhaust, so I can pull this whole thing out. Now obviously if you live in the Rust Belt, you might not get so lucky, but now we have clear access to these two bolts. Okay, the bracket bolts are an E20. That's inverted Torx. Well, it doesn't look horrible. It does have some cracking right there. Same thing over here, split. So it was due. Now you want to note, they're two different lengths. The long side goes towards the driver's side. And we're going to throw all these bolts in loosely. Before I crank this one down, I'm going to put a little bit of movement on just a little bit. All right, now let's put it back together. Okay, I got some new nuts for the exhaust flanges and a couple bolts for the missing bolt there and the missing bolt right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in. All right, now we'll slide the exhaust in. some new nuts to go on there. And like I said, a new bolt for up here. Who knows? All the rattling around could have been this exhaust bracket. Now let me go throw those nuts on back there. Okay, I got those tightened up. Now I can tighten the rest of these. All right, and that's a wrap. Just gotta put the splash shield back up and we're done. Well, that wasn't too bad of a job. Way easier than the upper mounts. Obviously, if you live in the Rust Belt, it may not go so simple. You may be stuck trying to pry that mount out of there because maybe you don't want to risk stripping the exhaust nuts or something, but luckily mine came apart. I put fresh nuts on there just in case we're back in there sometime. Hopefully that gets rid of the noise, although the control arms, lower control arms, don't look the best. So we might be back in there, but that'll do it for this one. Hope it helps. Appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.